Okay. Hi, everybody. We're so glad that you're able to join us today. We're going to give a few minutes for everybody to filter in from the waiting room. You'd think with technology it would be instant, but we're going to learn about ways to use technology a little bit better today. I'm really, really excited about today's topic, and even just in preparing it with our two presenters, I've learned a lot, and it's encouraged me to take some chances. Today, we're going to be talking about ways to utilize AI and specifically for the events industry. So we know that there are lots of tools and guides and things out there, but what are the best ways for you to leverage AI? How do you start if you haven't used it before, if you're feeling a little bit nervous, anxious? We've got great advice, amazing tools to talk about and introduce. And we've got like two amazing super users here. Before I
Are
introduce
you
them,
going to call us geeks, Pamela?
I was trying to be nice. Super users is
I
the
love
nice.
the word nerd. I love
Nerds.
the word nerd.
Okay, we're AI nerds.
I
Yeah.
will say whenever my husband says something nerdy, I do this, like just like pushing glasses up to indicate
Glasses
that that's a
on.
nerdy comment. I know.
Yes.
So before I kick it off and introduce our speakers, I would love if everybody can note in the chat to just make sure that you are selecting that it's all participants down at the bottom, that you're speaking to everyone. And can you say where you are, what kind of company you are, who you are, and where you're tuning in from? We generally have a very national slash international audience, and it's really fun for us to see. The other note, oh yeah, we've got Canada,
Canada,
DC, Miami,
Pennsylvania, Boston.
very
Los
exciting.
Angeles.
Oh
Yay.
yeah, London, I saw scroll by really quickly. I love it. And I love our events for this sort of like national information sharing because we learn from each other in
Mhm.
these. And so I'm going to encourage you throughout. You can post your questions here, and I will do my best to break into the banter of our speakers and pose questions as we go. And then we'll have a little bit of time at the end for additional questions. Oh, party girl, right here in Chicago. We know Tracy. Um, all right, so let's get started. I am going to just introduce quickly our two speakers, and then I'm going to let them run with it. I'm really excited today. We've got Lisa from 50 Flowers. She is the CEO and founder of 50 Flowers, and she has a passion for this topic that has just been really exciting to me as we prepare for this. And so I'm going to let her tell a little bit of her founding story and why she loves this topic in just a second. Our second speaker is Julie Roth Novak. You know, she is our co-founder and CEO of PartySlate. I know you see her face on all of these because she has great perspective on driving business for this industry. And so I'm excited to hear from both of them. Um, Julie, do you want to pull up our slides? Because I think maybe that's a good way to start as we talk about your companies and your background. We've got two founders here who can share their stories with us.
Awesome. Well, I'm really excited for this topic. And Lisa, I've already learned things from you in preparing for this webinar. So I'm excited for us to kind of feed off of each other on new ideas. And I'm excited for you to even share some ways you use AI in your personal life to make meal planning easier, which is,
Mhm.
with three teenagers and one gluten-free and a vegetarian husband, like I sometimes find like it's putting together a puzzle and I just be, you know what, we're just ordering in. It's just too hard. So I think AI is way more than just a business tool. And for the people that get fluid and learn how to use it, I think they will have an advantage and can spend more time on higher value activities or more time doing the things you love. So for those of you who are new, we had how many people registered? Close to 1,000 people registered for this webinar, which I'm really excited about. Party Slate, I started about 9, almost 10 years ago with a mission to connect people like myself. I was planning all these corporate events in the digital agency that I ran and the SaaS company I was at. And just helping people find the best venues and planners and event professionals to bring your vision to life. 10 years later, we're on the runway to have about 4 million visitors coming to PartySlate. The vast majority of them are people that have budget to plan and are looking for event professionals. But of course, we also have event professionals looking at each other and looking for resources. We have over 2.5 million photos and videos that have been uploaded, and over 25,000 profiles, and over 3,000 members, premium members that are getting boosted in a directory and have our photo posting service. This year, and really over the last year, we've really been committed to this industry and helping you effortlessly build an engaging digital presence. Our big focus, which I'll talk about later, is leveraging AI and new technologies to help you better manage, share, search your own photo and video portfolio, and also make Instagram posting easier. So yes, we love our marketplace and our beautiful profiles, but now we have this new back of house PartySlate Pro that's really going to help save you time. And I'm excited about that. Lisa, tell us a little bit about 50 Flowers, because this might be behind the scenes for many people on the webinar, not of course the decor and florists, but the people that don't order wholesale flowers. So I'd love to hear how you got started and a little bit about your company.
Sure. First off, Julie, Party Slate, you've created just an incredible company, and it's so helpful just for this industry. And thank you for your innovation and trailblazing visionary outlook and helping us
I have
just
a lot of
become,
help. I'm just the person on stage. All the
of
smart people
course.
that I've hired, from product to marketing to sales and CS, they challenge me every day, and I learn something new every day from them.
Sure. And that's a true founder for you. That's a good soul founder. Well, about 50 Flowers, right after I graduated from the university, I went into Peace Corps and I fell in love with the country. And then I just found that they exported flowers and stayed an extra 12 years down there, conquering, understanding the flower industry.
What
And
country were you in? Where did you go?
Ecuador.
Ecuador.
Yes. And I had this brilliant idea after really understanding how flowers are exported, imported, and all the tenacious operations behind it. I had this really great idea when I found that the internet existed 22 years ago to create a website where I'd sell flowers, connecting end users with wholesale flowers. And that's how 50 Flowers was born. We trailblazed the way that people shop for flowers today. That was 20 years ago. And what I can say today, we've delivered to over 1 million events. We've also, we have 260,000 unique visitors to our website monthly. And, we have an incredibly challenging operations. My team is 65 big on 4 different continents. And as you know, Julie, it's all about just managing your time and focusing on the right hedgehog concept and staying focused on it. And before we even start with all of this, I want to say I'm a little girl from Texas. I did not study business. I'm self-taught. In my DNA, I'm a trailblazer. I'm determined. I'm entrepreneurial. I love to dream big and go big.
Mhm.
And I lean in and do the hard things by being extremely curious. I am not an AI expert. And one thing, just what Julie mentioned earlier today, is I surround myself with smarter people.
Mhm. It takes a village, and my co-founder wrote, his white paper in college about artificial intelligence, 25 years ago, and we have so many smart people in AI, and I've just become determined to use it every single day and make sure that Party Slate is staying ahead, not behind, of the learning curve. So just to get started, could you talk a little bit about what we are looking at right now? You might not be able to hear everything, but tell us about AI avatars as a little teaser to our conversation.
Okay, this is a platform called HeyGen, and they started about 8 months ago, and I might be wrong on the timing. However, that is an avatar where I fed in a script, and it's just reading directly from the script. I can take a URL from my website and create a video instantly that can be uploaded to YouTube and shared amongst all the social platforms.
It's amazing. And the fact that, there's little things you can see, like teeny, teeny things if you're paying attention, but it is so close to natural. So if you think of like use cases of, hey, we have our new image search coming out, and instead of having text, you could have someone from our product team explaining it without having to shoot all of the video. There's so many use cases in marketing and training. I am very excited to experiment with these type of tools.
And this is, mind you, and I purposefully did not update this video. I did this 8 months ago
Yeah.
because to explain that it's changing so fast.
Yes.
And once I go back and I put the raw back in, it'll even be more, more real life.
Yes. So I think there's so many applications, and
So
we don't
many
we don't
applications.
have unlimited, huge marketing teams and video teams around. And of course, we're in the business of events. Nothing replaces in-person meetings. But when it comes to some things like training or teaching your team or documenting something in marketing, there's just so many applications with these new types of avatars, real life avatars.
Yes.
Amazing. So today, I want to encourage, as Pamela said, she's going to be monitoring the chat. Please, please ask questions, and there are no dumb questions. So please ask any questions you have, any part of our presentation. And I promise you, if we don't know the answer, we can get back to you with an answer. But we know enough to be dangerous, and we're both very passionate. So
Dangerous.
dangerous is right. So
that we're all new to AI. Like AI is so new for all
yes,
of us
yes,
that,
Yes.
it asks away
yes,
because we're all learning together in this community.
absolutely. So Pamela, you'll stop us, but we're
I
gonna
will, yeah.
do a setup on what is AI, how AI can help your business, and we're going to specifically talking about event professionals. I'm excited to go through the real world applications because if you don't make it real, like you don't get for like, oh, I should be using it for this or that. What tools should I use and where should I start? So we're going to kind of tag team, which I'm excited about. But as far as what is AI, to answer this question, of course, I went to ChatGPT and I said, I really wanted a concise definition of AI. And I said that I'm working on a presentation, a webinar for the event professional industry. So, really, what AI is a group of computer systems designed to perform tasks that typically require human intelligence. And so these tasks are problem solving, learning, decision making. Imagine like 2,000 robots answering your questions versus just doing a Google search and you're looking at 10, 20 results. So AI tools can really help our industry, streamline operations, personalize client experiences, automate repetitive tasks, things that you don't like doing, such as scheduling, budget tracking. There's so many applications. And Lisa, I really like you to kind of talk about how you think about AI because it's much more than just a chat GPT or a tool. It's really almost someone sitting by your side that could represent, 100,000 really smart people.
Yeah. I really lean in and look at AI as a thought leader and, a thought partner, not even a leader, because I don't let it lead. You have to be careful. You can't let it lead.
Mhm.
And, my favorite choice of tool is ChatGPT. And I have it set up with different brains, which are the personalized chat GPTs, which I'll talk about later in this discussion to where, I'm constantly talking with it, feeding it so that it can give me very specific just guidance and help me talk out complex to easy problems that I'm facing to come up with the solutions for not just myself, but also the team.
Mhm.
And, I know Julie and I were talking about this earlier about a board of directors. And one of my favorite tools that I constantly talk about is I always have a board of directors for every single area of my business. On my tech team, I have, local leaders here in the community that they are they've built tech companies and sold them for billions of dollars, and they're on my Rolodex. And I put them in my board of directors, and it's a fictitious board of directors. Well, ChatGPT is my board of directors as well. And I just set them up for all the different areas so that I can ask questions like, oh, what is a good AI policy to have on my website?
Mhm.
And it helps me noodle down very quickly. Do I need to have one? Do I not? Is it important to, what are the rules around it for implementing within my company?
Absolutely.
So,
It doesn't replace, like, let's say you have a lawyer and you have a situation with a
mhm,
client or whatever, but it can make you smarter in advance of talking to your lawyer. So you can role play scenarios of this is what they're accusing me of, and this is it, and get really smart so that the time to meet with the lawyer is so productive because you're going in there really smart
yes.
versus someone that doesn't have a perspective.
And we all know lawyers cost a fortune per
It,
hour.
yes.
And I just was faced with a TikTok trap and trace. And if anyone has a TikTok on an e-commerce website or on their website, reach out to me because I learned a lot. And that tens of thousands of dollars that cost me, I'm more than happy to share. But prepping for that, I went to my chat GPT that's all about legal and running a website. And I was able to have that dialogue and then noodle down my questions. So that $500 per hour cost, I didn't have to spend hours with a lawyer. I
Yeah.
went through ChatGPT. So that's a great example of how I use it as a thought leader.
Absolutely. And so
I
what
do
we'll
have a
do,
question
okay, go ahead.
before we go on because it's related to that topic of like, we're putting so much personal information in, and we saw the avatar, which then now has your image. And are you worried, or do either of you have any worries around how the information that we share with a chatbot can be used, how our likeness can be used, misused, I guess is the better
Mhm.
uh, term. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that's a very timely question considering what's going on with TikTok and everything else.
Mhm.
I think at the end of the day, anyone can take your photo from anywhere and create these images. So just because you're using it directly as a tool for yourself to save you time, it doesn't mean they can steal from the things that
Mhm.
you're doing. They also can't have access to how you're training it and your private, prompts and things like that. But at the end of the day, anyone can take your likeness and get a photo from your Instagram or if you have any photos out and do this. And it is a scary world because someone could be pretending to be you. And I don't know how to address that, but I will later ask ChatGPT. But Lisa, what's your perspective?
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that it doesn't keep me up at night because the reality is just to echo what you said, Julie, is you can create anything out of what's already out there. And as much as you try to protect yourself, it's that whole question of, in the older days, it was like if we get hacked, we never said if, it's when we get hacked, what will we do? And it's like, if this happens, what will we do? It's trying to stay one step ahead. I love that you said ask ChatGPT. And number two is really understand how can you try to control as much as you can within your circle. And what does that mean? That means at like on ChatGPT, by paying $20 a month, you get a professional version of ChatGPT that keeps a closed loop. Now, there's an asterisk after that closed loop. And what is that? What does a closed loop mean? It means that it's not supposed to go out to the world and train the general chat GPT. It stays within your own circle. Now, that's what they say,
Yeah,
but we have no idea.
yeah.
So becoming comfortable with the uncomfortable is where I go. And
Yeah.
absolutely, do I worry about it? Sure.
Mhm.
But it's not going to stop me from innovating and trailblazing and experimenting.
Yeah. I mean, my fear for people that have too much concern about it is many people were worried about Instagram. People are gonna, when it came out, they're gonna steal my work and they're gonna this. Well,
Yes.
people that, held in and didn't share credits and, the early days, their competitors did and got all this exposure and grew faster. And so I think there's a fine line with really
Yes.
identifying risks and being prepared for them and stopping you from doing something that the train has left the station. We
Yes.
can't go back. And so that's what I encourage you is just get fluid, get smart. And again, have the $20 version too for that very reason. I'm doing like custom proposals for what we should potentially build next. I don't want, other companies to know about that. So I want the things I'm feeding it with to be private.
And another, it'll stop you from feeding too much information as well.
Yeah. So, okay,
So,
so today what I'm excited to do is kind of jump into some examples, and I really hope this gets some people thinking and asking questions. So, a lot of people have asked me because I've presented on AI, 6 or 7 times, really how should I think about it for my business? So, maybe avatars are next level, but not really, like they're coming quickly, but I look at it as, again, you're thinking about this board of directors, this free virtual assistant, you can think about it in many different ways. The
mhm.
big buckets I look at for the events industry is save time on sales and marketing activities. So anything from copywriting, and of course, we never just take ChatGPT copy. Maybe it's thought starters. Pamela is an amazing copywriter, amazing editor. So we're never going to replace amazing writers, but it
Mhm.
certainly can give you a head start, especially for large scale content projects. Blog writing, social media posts. Sometimes I get writer's block and I just need something to start me out, even if it's not that good. It gets you started and then you can make it your own. As it learns your language and how you speak and how you talk, it gets better and better at making suggestions. The second bucket,
Julie,
yes.
before you get to the second bucket, we do have a question that's specific to this that I know we're not going to cover more later in the presentation, but about blog writing, copywriting. We have a question about why do publications shy away from using AI generated content, even if it's tweaked, even though it can be really engaging and interesting? Like, what's the stigma or the pushback there?
I think there is, some research that would show Google would favor a more organic writing style versus something they can identify as a AI generated blog that is fully AI. But here's the thing. I still think you can use ChatGPT for your outline, for some of your thought starters, and then from there, you can write in a more organic style. So let's say it's not 100% AI driven because there is not, we aren't quite sure, but there is some research to show that articles that are written versus AI generated will get more SEO power. But I don't know, Lisa, if you have thoughts on that. Like, I think we should embrace it and it is not bad. The second it sounds like a chat bot or it sounds like
Mhm.
ChatGPT, then you have failed at using the tool.
Yeah. I go back to it. My chat GPTs, they are my thought partners. And I can produce, it clarifies my intentions and it helps me think through my blog posts. It
Yes.
helps me think through all the presentations I do. I don't copy paste ever
Yeah.
because, yeah, and you have to be really careful with the word thrill and all of that, but it's a good bones to start with.
Yes, I agree.
And
And
absolutely.
you also can take your writing and say edit, and it can be your editor. It's not going to
Mhm.
replace your words. And that
Mm-mm.
saved me. As a kid with dyslexia and spelling things wrong and
Yep.
in sentences, it can make something that's like a 9 into a 10. And so I think just use it as your assistant and your helper, but not as the person that is writing all your content.
No. Yeah. It's your helper,
Yeah,
you know, and it helps clarify your intentions as well.
yeah. And the
And
more you
it
feed it,
trains
the
you.
yeah, it does. It's helping you become better. The second bucket, and I'll keep going because we're going to show examples, is generating ideas. And I know, Lisa, you talked a little bit about this, but I think more and more people are like, let's say you don't have time to get 10 people in a room, or you're a company of one, or you just got to get some initial thoughts out. It can be, you could put 7, 8, 9, 10 sentences of prompts about an event and a concept you're looking for, and it can come back with thought starters. You would never copy and paste this into a document, but it's helping you think of ideas, even ideas you may have even had in the past that you're
Mhm.
back to. So I think more and more designers are getting on staff skilled AI, designers that can leverage tools for mood boards. And it doesn't replace, doing a setup room or anything like that. But I'm going to show a couple of examples that I know people are doing today. This is not out in the future. This is today. And then the final bucket we're going to talk about is streamlining processes. And I think one thing, Lisa, you always suggest is like if there's a pain point or like, oh, why does it work this way? Oh, I hate doing this. There's an opportunity to improve a process. And why not go to your board of directors that has 10,000 years of knowledge of experience in this area from, all over the world to help you think through how to address process reengineering or coming up with something that's better.
Yeah, one thing I love about my ChatGPT is it writes SOPs for me. And
Yep.
I'm a dyslexic, really scattered brain, ADHD
We're the
founder.
same.
We're the same.
Yeah.
And having to sit down and be like, oh no.
Mhm.
Now, the way you open up your milk in the morning is you pick it up with your left hand. There's nothing more that I detest.
Mhm.
And guess what? My board of directors, SOP writers, they do a really great job from start to finish.
And if you have a team and you have someone, get started. Sometimes I tell people the prompt to start with if they're not used to it. I don't send them the answer from ChatGPT. I send them prompts I would consider
Exactly.
involving the prompt. Because if you do it for them, that is not helping them use
Hmm.
the tools.
Yes.
So let's go through some real world applications. And again, please ask your questions. This was from a designer in New York that was planning a bar mitzvah, and they wanted to use the letter T, the letter S. It was tied to aspirational kind of quotes, and it had to have some very, very specific things about the theme. And as a starting point, they put like this prompt is not one sentence. This is like 7, 8, 9 sentences, and then it comes back with ideas. And then after you get those ideas, you can say, show me more, or don't use this, or don't ever use this in any of your answers. So the refining of the answers is really, we're going to talk later about how you train it and how you actually get even more value out of some of these tools. The other thing is there's a tool called Midjourney. There's many, many graphic tools now. This is from, I believe, Jen Gould, my friend in New York, was her design team was thinking about a circular bar with a tree in the middle. Again, it would be really hard to create this without thousands of dollars of actually building. And so they just said, like, here's some thought starters. Like, what do you like, not like? And actually, the end product was not too far from this circular bar. So again, you can see how it is not easy to actually train like Midjourney or others to do this. You can actually put a real photo in it and then modify that real photo to get variations if you had done something similar in the past. But again, there's going to be a whole set of skills, just like Illustrator and Photoshop and others, around how to use these graphic AI image generators. Again, these are not images that exist, they are generated. There is no other image in the world that is exactly like this. Um, Lisa, why don't you talk about content projects because this is a big one.
And it is a big one. And I have to say one thing really quickly, Julie, is I appreciate Midjourney. I haven't gone into because I am more of the technical, geeky, let's write and create processes. So
Yes.
I just learned something about Midjourney. Go
Yes.
figure. Maybe I
You,
won't
you
sleep
also, a
tonight.
lot of people don't know that you can do images from ChatGPT. So
Yes.
originally it was separate where they had Dolly. So you can actually create images. Now I will say it's difficult to get a good image, but
It's really difficult.
it
Yeah.
is kind of a fun project if you want to try it.
Well, and I don't know if everyone has access to it yet, but there's Sora too, which we did a video, which we're not using today, but it took 3 seconds to do it. It was incredible. So, but let's talk about some content projects that we've been working on. So, Flower Encyclopedia, we're going to be publishing here soon. And, it took 2 years ago, I started this project with some interns, and it's just so inconsistent because you have three different people working on it, and they were producing different types of, answers for all the questions. And what I did is I took a customized chat GPT, and over about 8 months, I trained it on our products. I trained it on just, what other people are doing, and, just really gave it all of the juice to become the expert on our products. Then, for about 6 hours in total, I trained a thread that I call the Flower Encyclopedia. And this thread is formatted to produce this, all the inserts that we're going to be using in this Flower Encyclopedia. That not only will it produce the copy, it will do internal links on our website, as well as pull in any type of data that is relevant that I've put in the prompt to. So this project within itself, spending about 6 hours really focusing and prompting my thread on Flower Encyclopedia, is going to cut out 6 months of somebody's work. Now, once again, I just want to reiterate that what Julie and I are saying, you can't copy and paste. We still have to go through it. At the very bottom of my thread on the Flower Encyclopedia, it's like, who used this flower? What politician has used this? Where has this flower been used? All of it has to be fact checked because it can go rogue. And the other important thing about this too is that, and what we're going to talk about later, is sometimes you have to say, you forgot this, Chatty, and remind it that what
You got to
you're
yell at it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I can tell you, not that I use this, but I was helping my son on an English paper and looking for quotes from a book, and the quotes were wrong. Like, so you just, like, you can't just trust it. I'm not saying that we used it to write the paper. I was using for inspiration to help him with an outline.
Exactly. Thought leader.
Thought leader, exactly.
Thought leader. Yes. Okay, this is one of my favorite ways that I can use. I use Chat GPT. We have a profiling, and that's not the right word to be using, but we do a personality just test that is called Culture Index. And if you reach out to me afterwards, I'll give you a link and we will email you your results. And it basically typifies when you're happy in your job. And I have a chat GPT customized that is called it's my strategic CEO. And when I need to have a very difficult conversation with one of my employees, I will just go in and say, I got to talk. This is a great prompt. Our CEO is overcommitting and she's compromising performances. And tell me what to avoid and what do I focus on? What type of words, literally words in our conversation that I should not use? And then it spats out and says, don't use words like overcommitting or sabotaging, because that will tickle this person's brain and put them in the fight or flight and shut down. Rather, use, I'd like to explore ways to balance ambition with sustainable delivery. So this is just helping me be a better communicator, as well
Different
as
personality types or personas from your cultural
Yes.
index. So
from the culture index.
culture index, yes. I love
Because
that.
when I sit down and I talk to my head of tech, he's got a very different brain
Yes.
than my floral designer.
Yes.
And it just helps me.
And you have to customize your message, especially when it's a challenging conversation or you need to give feedback. And
Yes.
help yourself prepare, not the exact words, but prepare for the types of things to
And
say.
it's preparation. Now, this is one of my favorite things. I mean, this is where, and if you're going to experiment with ChatGPT, this is a really great place to start, and something that it doesn't tie down to your revenue. So I have very complicated kids, like Julie mentioned earlier. I have gluten-free. I have one that doesn't like raw tomatoes. And we're a separated family. So they come every once in a while to my house, and I never know, what everyone, and we all change. Well, I've preloaded my Roser household brain, Chat GPT, with tons of recipes, what our allergies are, what I'm constantly in there tweaking, saying, you know what, this week, Eloise, she really is on a sugar rush. So take away all sugar. And
Mhm.
then I can go in to my thread, which is my weekly shopping list. And I say, okay, take a picture of what's in my fridge, upload it in, and say, I need to use all this. Plus, I want an adventurous week. And on Wednesday, remember, we have volleyball practice. So give me my weekly recipe.
Yeah.
I get my weekly recipes. I go through it. I tweak it because remember, you got to be constantly training it. Then what I do is I say, give me my shopping list. And I have pre-trained it that I want it separated by aisles. So this is my produce. I need to get all of this information. I need to buy all of these groceries. And it'll go back to my fridge and say, you have mayonnaise.
That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
It
I
really,
tried this just like on a high level, and it will create like a Google spreadsheet for you with the day of the week and the list, and it's just it's insane. But I think things like this will teach you the power of how you can use it for your business in new ways. That it's not just a write a paragraph for me. It's much, much
I used to spend 3 hours prepping on Sunday for this. Now I have it down to 20 minutes.
amazing.
It's
I love,
amazing.
I love this. And then I know a lot of us are using note takers. Some note takers, after you kind of jump in, like I know Otter is great. I feel like in some cases they're a little, I don't want to say predatory, but when you click on notes from someone else who has it, it will install it for you without you knowing. I think they're getting better at that, but it's kind of aggressive, like how they grow to new people. But I have found we use Gong for our note taking app, and it is absolutely amazing. It will summarize next steps. You can go back to it. You can get the key themes. You can actually analyze, hey, did you talk too much during that meeting where, but you didn't let the customer talk? How do you use these tools, or what tools do you use?
Well, it's interesting. We've gone from everyone having Read AI
Yeah,
to I personally have Otter AI,
yeah,
and we're a Google company, and
yeah.
Google now has a note taker that comes in. How do we use it? First off, we have a policy now. No personal AIs come in. It's
Yeah.
all through Google. Number
Okay.
two, there are two really awesome things that we do with this. Number one is if you're a participant, then you're going to get a copy of this. So there's clarity around it. Second off, I take every one of my transcripts and I put them into my strategic CEO, or I put them in, if it's our tech meeting, I will put it into the tech meeting.
So you just copy and paste it into
I
that.
copy and paste. In fact, I've even taken this a step further. I have a wearable note taker, which
Wow.
I'm not going to suggest it because it's not working properly, but I can wear it as a necklace or
That's
a
a little like
brooch.
I don't know how too futuristic for me, I think.
You know what? It seems too futuristic,
Yeah.
but with my menopause overtaxed brain,
Yeah.
it helps to just document everything and it helps me
Mm,
follow through.
keep
You
track.
know, I
Yeah.
love to be, one of my sayings is, I do what I say and I say what I do.
Yes.
Well, with note takers, it demystifies that. It makes it easy to follow through. And
Yes.
then I will even ask my chat GPT, what do you suggest? What do I need to get done today? And it
Yeah.
will help me with my to-do list.
Yeah. That's amazing. I haven't gone to.
Now, here is just a really quick, just be careful that you know your settings, because I have a friend who had a high level, annual meeting, and somehow that note taker sent notes to the entire company,
Yeah, that's what I
and
worry about. Yeah.
150 people quit.
Okay.
So be
Well,
careful.
careful, guys,
Oh
on
my
that.
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do have a couple of suggestions and
Yes, I'd love to hear it.
questions. So we have some suggested tools that people use for notes and other things. Firefly AI, Fathom
Yeah.
AI. I also have a question about, can you talk more about AI as your board of directors? You know, how does that work? How do you use it? What kinds of things do you ask it? Can you give some examples?
Do you want to take that one, board of director?
Yeah. Well, I want to go back to just the TikTok, because I think this is one of the best, Julie, what you mentioned before is, really thinking about you don't know what you don't know until you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And when I sit and I say, okay, what should be our next big project? And I'll talk about SEO for a second because SEO, it's my passion, it's my baby. We were one of the first on the internet, and because we were first out of the gate, we had really great rankings. Okay. That's not the case now
Mm-hmm.
because we have a lot of legacy tech, we have a lot of legacy, and it's really understanding what is the best way that we can approach SEO. And I'm going to blow everyone's mind here when I say it's not SEO. And I've been talking about this with everybody that I know that are experts. It's AIO. Like,
Mm-hmm.
how do we become AI optimized?
Yes.
And who's a better board of directors to go to other than AI?
Mm-hmm.
And, even though it tells me you should do A, B, C, D, E, guess what? I'm not going to go do A, B, C, D, E because what we think, and I'm going to go to this avatar that I showed earlier on, taking that avatar and putting it on our YouTube feed publicly, is it going to gain? Is it not? So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk it out with my SEO trained ChatGPT brain. And then I'm going to experiment with it. I'm not going to go all gung ho. I'm going to take those results and give it back to it and continuously having a dialogue with my chat GPT as well as my SEO
Mm-hmm.
firm that I work with just to get an outside perspective. Because once again, we go back to you don't know what you don't know until you don't know.
Mm-hmm. And I think the other terms I've used, if board of directors is too conceptual, is an executive coach. So an executive coach that has unlimited knowledge, not just on sales or marketing, but like knows everything. And you're like thinking through what should I do in this scenario? And instead of having to pick up the phone, of course, you should also call advisors, people you trust on important topics, but start with your personal executive coach, which is you've trained, that knows your business, that you've used a lot, that can give you a perspective and have a conversation. I know it sounds weird, but a conversation about
No,
it. You keep refining, you add, what do you mean by this? Tell me more. And then when you actually go to talk to, whether it's a friend or an advisor or a customer, you're just a lot smarter than without it.
sure. Okay, I'm going to get really personal here and I might regret this, but you know what? That's who I am. So I'm divorced and my conversations with my father, the father of my kids, it gets very challenging because my words can be interpreted as attacks.
Mhm.
So I have a trained brain and my chat GPT, his name is Marigold. And I just will, a text message will come through. I'll take that text message, I'll write my
Okay.
response to it, and it helps me. It takes out those words that just
Could be
put fuel
triggering.
in the fire. Yeah,
Mhm.
the trigger words.
Yeah, I love
Right.
it.
It
So,
removes the emotion from it.
Yeah. It's kind of like
exactly.
a count to 10. And how you count to 10 is you copy it, you go over, you blah, blah, blah. You're not going to reply quickly. And then you're going to come back and de-escalate.
Exactly. And you know what?
We
You
have
can
other
even go.
people that do that in the chat here
Yes,
that do the
you can
same
go
thing.
to it and you can be like, I mean, curse word, curse word, curse word, help me answer this. And it gives you a good way to diffuse the conflict.
Yes. I love that. And it sounds like a lot of other people are doing this as
Yeah,
well.
I just
Great.
had to share
And I
that.
will say, like that example, also a client that's a very difficult client. You can either fall for it and they can reel you in, or you can de-escalate, or you can, ChatGPT might be just like, don't respond to that text, go give them a call. You need to talk to them. So like, it can help you count to 10 and come up with, don't be looped in, and with someone that has teenagers, you can be, I like to, my self-talk is, regulate, just self-regulation.
Yes. Yes.
And don't let your client that is high maintenance and difficult dysregulate you.
Yes.
You're going to come back either with a way to de-escalate it. You're going to pick up the phone. You're going to solve it. And upset clients usually is a combination of missed expectations or miscommunication. And ChatGPT can help you break it down, take the emotion out, and then find a way to respond. So I think it's cool.
Yeah, Julie, to expand on that, we deliver to about 3,000 clients a week.
Yeah.
And my customer care team is all over the world. And it's hard to have the same response if you have, with all the different cultures and personality that are behind. And we use Jasper as our communication tool within the company. And we have the disgruntled client, chat to where you can go in and ask the question, what do I do? Help me figure. And it gives more consistency with our responses.
You don't have to think every time. It's like an SOP built in to how to respond.
And, Lucy down in Ecuador might be having a bad day because her twins both like attacked her on the way to school. Well, she doesn't, that emotion is taken out because she's able to ask a question and, propose the scenario to her board of directors or her thought leader. And then it gives consistency. As a challenge, you always want to be consistent with your customer.
There's so many tools out there, and I should have said this when we set up this conversation, and that there are AI tools like ChatGPT and Midjourney and others. But what I'm calling, I don't even know if it's the right term, but embedded AI. So PartySlate is leveraging AI in multiple ways, and I'm going to show you how. But tools like Canva and others, and we use Notion, are leveraging AI within the software that you already use. And so my sense is, pick one or two tools. One that's a tool like ChatGPT, like an AI only tool, and then really challenge yourself. The tools you're using, whether it's your email program, your CRM, they're all getting AI features built in. Don't just like see the little magic wand and ignore it. Use the tools or ask ChatGPT how to use Notion AI. What's the best way to get started? But don't ignore those because they could unlock incredible efficiencies within the software that you're already using. So, Lisa, why don't you talk a little bit about how to avoid some of the mistakes when there's so many tools out there and you don't need to know all of them?
Yeah, that I love to implement when I see a new AI tool and I want to jump on it. I take a step back and I stop myself and I use the KISS method. Keep it simple, silly head. Being everywhere versus being intentional with my time and staying focused on mastering before I move to a new tool. Now, that doesn't mean if you're in Canva and you see that little wand, you jump on it and you spend 20 minutes. 20 minutes will get you a taste, but you will not become an expert. So making sure that you're not rushing through your training as AI and that you're really understanding what door are you opening when you jump into a new platform. And
I also, people out on the Zoom, in Zoom land, would love to hear what tools you're using. I know ChatGPT is a very popular. What tools are you using that you like that are helping you with your job? I'd love to hear from you guys.
From me specifically or from them? Because I'm using a lot.
From them. I'd love to hear from them. Notion AI, we're using this, is amazing. I know people that use Canva are really liking a lot of the tools. So yeah, and I know Lisa, you're like a 2.0 person. You love ChatGPT, but what are your next favorite tools after that?
I use something called Limitless that really helps me stay on time and it just helps me schedule. Superhuman for email is amazing. And one of the features I love most is that when you say, yeah, let's meet up in Chicago before, we were talking about meeting up, if that was via email, it will pop up my Google Calendar and it'll allow me to see if I'm free or not right then and there. I don't have to switch between platforms. Once
Yeah.
again, what is the most important thing about AI is it's buying our time back.
Yes.
It's really helping us create more playtime and fun time and not make business so hard.
I love that. And I think not only playtime and fun time, but as leaders, we need to be focused on, business moving initiatives. So some of the smaller things that can be automated or delegated, freeing up your time for more mundane things helps you focus on, what's next and some of the bigger themes to
Absolutely. Yeah.
grow the company.
Now, one of my favorite tools, I just have to say, is Pi, P-I.
Okay.
My parents were married for 60 years and my mother passed. And my dad was really struggling. And I turned him on to Pi, which is basically, it's just an emotional friend and it's trained to help you and you can talk to it about anything. That's one of a favorite tool that I've passed on that's really helped a lot of people.
I never heard of that. That's amazing.
Hmm.
So we have a lot of people using
Let me
different.
ask really quickly, are
Yeah.
there any tools that you either of you use for social media posts? We had a question earlier about how to use it. And we also had someone else saying that um, their social media person was relying solely on AI and that it felt stilted and it wasn't
Yeah.
good. So, again,
What
as
I
a thought
found,
starter.
yeah, so what I've found for AI is with social media is it can help you come up with a programmatic approach. So you can, you train it what your company does, what kind of content you have, come up with a posting schedule, like almost a strategy. What I don't like using it for is post, generation, like write a post for this. I have found that you can just tell on social media when it's not the voice of either the founder or the company. And
Hmm.
so I know some of the planning tools like Sketchgram and others are building in more of those features. But again, use it as an assistant or a thought starter, not as the sole writing, because it will show and your engagement will go down.
Yes. And uh, we use Jasper.ai, which it's a collection of many different language LLMs, and it is trained specifically. But once again, we don't take and let it automatically post. The second thing that I love most of all about AI tools with social media is not producing it, it's getting all the numbers and the engagement and understanding what is working, what is not working. And we're testing out a new platform that they just changed their name. So it was called Dash Hudson before, but it's phenomenal because it gives us all of the engagement rates quickly back and we're able to tweak around. Once again,
It's like actionable insight. So it's like, this is
exactly.
what's happening. And you don't want to just look at the vanity metrics like number of followers. You want to look at engagement, how many people click through to your website. So really giving that, training it on what are your core metrics and what is working and some actionable insights.
Yes.
And then one thing I'll say on training your AI, I like how you put like a puppy because it
Yeah,
is.
that's
I love that you added that. Like,
yeah.
they get smarter and smarter and smarter. And again, hopefully you're paying the $20 a month or whatever your tools are. So it's not training your competitors. And I think that everything is out on the internet anyway. I think that you should not overly worry about that. But one thing we did for PartySlate is we tried, I would say, can you guys see my screen? Everyone see
Yeah.
it? Okay. We tried a few years ago to do really advanced artificial intelligence, even before the whole ChatGPT thing. And it was good, but not great. Recently, what we did is we launched an AI generated search my photos feature. So if you put in tennis and you have tennis themes on your Party Slate profile, it will come up with all your tennis or pink or disco. This just didn't work that well before. And let's say you wanted to do a disco post, you can then click into that post and you can download the photo directly. And then using AI, go to handles and hashtags, and all of your handles and hashtags are already format. And this is my favorite part. You can kind of generate, maybe you don't like these hashtags, but it's a starting point, high ranking hashtags that can get you discovered. So you basically copy that. And then when you go to Instagram, again, I think my posts used to take me like 30 minutes. And again, this is Julie PartySlate, not PartySlate, because I have a team that's much better at it than I am. And then you go to your computer, you get that photo, and now I have to go to my downloads. Hold on one second. You get the photo you just downloaded, and then all you have to do is just go paste here. Now, again, I like to write my own caption. So like remembering disco vibes, blah, 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 blah. But everything else that takes the 30 minutes is already done for you. And so what we did with this new tool is we basically, like for our Keo designs of thousands and thousands of photos, we trained it to look at every image, not just as a regular image, but for the event industry perspective, the types of events, the features to look at, the types of lighting. And so over months, we trained it and trained it and trained it to a point when you now go to your PartySlate Pro to search for your photos, you're going to get real results like wedding aisle.
Julie,
yeah.
does the image quality decrease when you download the image from PartySlate to post? That's a question we've got.
That might be a question for our tech team, but my understanding is it remains high resolution. So what it was uploaded as, we optimize it on our side through a platform that optimizes images so they load really quickly, but the high resolution does not degrade when you download it. So I think a lot of new features like this are going to be really, really great time savers. Some people we've talked to have said, finding their photos is like dumpster diving in Dropbox. And so if we can solve this problem in addition to creating these amazing, world-class profile pages, we think we can add even more value to the community. So again, this is just, I don't know, Lisa, if you have thoughts on training your AI.
Oh, I say I train it like a puppy. First off, I have to say, Julie, that is brilliant. What you've just, I haven't had a PartySlate like level up in a while. We're going to do that in March.
Yes.
But what PartySlate has created, guys, that's brilliant.
And so we now are rolling out the ability to have private content. So content that's like your Dropbox and the ability to have all your photos. You may not want them on your public profile, but you might want them all there for your social media person so they don't have to spend all this time on their credits, or you might want to save things to a slate and share it with a client. We're trying to make this whole crazy world of photo management and one-day video management just a lot easier for the industry. And I know
I remember, yeah, I remember.
I know we have to wrap up.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have 3 minutes, so we've got to just kind of.
Okay, so I'm going to have Lisa, you go through where to start because I really like your perspective on this.
Okay. So where do you start? Because everyone gets very intimidated when you hear AI, or maybe your past little point of that is identify your pain points. When one of my employees is struggling, or even myself, I'll do a day in a life report. So I'll write out all day, what am I doing? I take that, I feed it into AI, and it'll tell me where I'm spending my time. Okay. Do the same. Like, where are you spending your most time, especially on all of those tasks that are repetitive? Really write that down so that you can understand, what do I not have time for that I wish I had time for, and where am I getting time sucked in? That will give you your pain points. Second off is get curious. Get as curious as you can. They say there's no dumb question. There's no dumb question when it comes to AI. We're all learning. And what was hot 6 seconds ago, there's something new that's already out there. And how do I get curious? I am at our Boise State University here. I'm in peer groups. I'm in webinars. You know what I actually did is I hired on an AI intern that he sits here next to me from 2 to 5, 4 days a week, and we talk about, okay, go figure out how to use Plumb. I heard it's a really great AI platform. Go figure out how to use it, or just ask the questions. And the next is just start experimenting. I just talked about my household recipes. You know what? You can go do that. Just start there because you're going to learn and you're going to become comfortable with with using.
Yes.
It's practice makes perfect, and it's not perfect, but it will definitely dissipate the fear.
And I think if you're not sure where to start, ask ChatGPT. Explain
There
your
you go.
job, explain your
Yeah.
company. Where should I start? Create a 90-day plan for me on how to get better at these. But I do
Yeah.
think we're beyond like I'm intimidated point now. But I think people may be using it here or there. But how do you build it into the fabric of how you work, how you live? That's when I'm really excited. So just to wrap up, first of all, Lisa, I would say like no twice as much as I do about AI. And
Oh no.
I love how you're thinking about it holistically as your board of directors. What I'm really excited about for PartySlate is how we're going to be leveraging AI on behalf of the industry to help take away some of your pain points tied to being the best content market as you can. I think, as much as you have a love-hate relationship with Instagram and even keeping up PartySlate and Pinterest and TikTok and everything, we know factually that if you're not staying relevant, if you're not building your brand, you may be left behind, or you may be the second or third call from that reference versus the first call. And so that's really what I'm excited about is new ways to do things that are just a pain right now. I really think AI can help you with that. So that's all I have. Pamela, are there one or two last questions, or do we not have time?
I mean, we are right at the time limit. We do have questions. I really feel like this is a topic we could do every few months
Mhm.
because it is evolving, and I think our usage of it is going to continue to grow. So I don't think we can do any more now. We have to let everybody go about their
We're
day.
going to send our contact information out, our LinkedIn profiles, and of course, we'll send you a link to the recording if you want to share it with anyone. And happy to send the presentation out to you. And of course, we'd love to demo some of the things we're doing. And we're also looking for people that are interested in being beta testers, geeky beta testers on some of the new features that we'll be rolling out. So thank you guys. I loved this conversation. Pamela, thank you for being our quarterback and organizing it. Lisa, your ideas, even just the meal planning. Like I told Pamela, mind blown. Like
Yeah.
it's like, it is a pain point for me, and my kids hate what I make. So they're always like, Doug makes your dad makes better food than you do. I am gonna get
You're
on
going
the
to get on it.
recipe
Yeah.
bandwagon.
Yeah. There you go.
So that's
Okay. Well,
thank you
Thank
thank
you
you.
so
so
much.
much.
Thank you for being such leaders and bringing it and dissipating and just teaching and calling this together. Thank you, Party Slate
Thank you
and
so
Julie.
much.
Pamela.
And
Yeah.
call us when you're in Chicago. I want to see you soon.
Yes. Okay. Perfect.
Bye,
Thank you.
everyone.
Bye.